Welcome everyone for the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. Today we're going to do the walkthrough a bit differently. I have with me Ben Knowles from East Coast Yacht Sales, and we're going to be looking at this a bit from the US perspective. So Ben, really nice to have you on the stand.
Hey, thank you for taking the time and walking through the stand with me. This is going to be really fun.
You started selling Axopars, if I remember correctly, in 2017, 16, was it so?
Yeah, 2017 is really when things got started for us. And so 2018 model year was the first model year where we started importing them into the Northeast.
Yeah, and it's been a great collaboration since day one. And we have a lot of Axopars in that region today.
And our customers are thrilled. So it's been a lot of fun, and we've got some customers that just love their boats.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see that the similarities of Scandinavian boating or Nordic boating fit so well with your customer profile also up there in could I say, upper East Coast of US.
Yeah, you know, our customers are active people and they want to get more out of their boats, and the boats that you guys create just create so much more optionality for them.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just really fun.
Yeah, cool. What do you think about the 45 Suntop? It's the US premiere here on the show.
Yeah, the 45 Suntop is, you can just imagine sitting, all the seating that you have here, bringing your friends and family out on this boat. The way you have organized the drop down hull sides makes so much sense for additional seating. Yep. It just looks like so much fun.
Yeah, we had a great fun developing and making all the drawings for the 45, and this is of course our flagship. But all in all, we are super excited to see how well the 45s, all the sister models that we made out of it, how well they have been received all over the world. Of course, we're in Florida, so the Suntop is going to be like in its perfect habitat right now at this moment, but still. I believe this is a boat that you can still be driving in your region as well.
Oh, we definitely will have customers that will be excited about this boat, without a doubt. I really think that the fact that you did the cross top, which is the hybrid with the extra protection at the helm, I think that's going to be a really popular option for the open style 45 in our region. So that was a really smart move.
Yeah, cool.
But you've stayed true with the modularity aspect of the 45. So this boat will attract a wide range of use cases and missions in the Northeast.
Yeah, cool. So hey Ben, let's have a look at the stand. We brought it actually on the water this year. How do you like it?
I think this is definitely the direction that you guys should be going in, and it is so nice how you guys have really helped us, support us as dealers. You've got folks from the factory here, you're here. Mm-hmm. It's so great to have your presence here at the show as well, to have our customers talk to you. And it really shows how committed you guys are to our territories.
Yes, so for us, the United States is actually taking up over 40% of our exports. So United States is the single one most important export area that we have on Axopar. I know that in the United States, we can do even greater sales than the 40%, but we still need to get some boats for our other dealers all around the world as well.
I'm sure. It's a slow growth, but it's a sustained slow growth from what we've seen.
Yeah. And in that sense, it's not that sort of a slow growth. We're growing 40% every year.
40%.
40%. So that's been a really tremendous feat over at this time. So 40% means that this year we're producing somewhere around 1,000 big boats in a year. So that is a lot of boats going in and out our factory.
And from our perspective, you know, we have many customers, many people that should be running around in an Axopar that don't even know it exists yet. So we see there being a lot of growth in our regions as well.
Yeah, no, that's really cool to see. And I know that you're very active in promotion and having sea trials and going out with your customers on the boat. That is exactly what the Axopar is all about. Hey, then we're on the 45, the cross cabin. I know you have one of these already over in Maine.
Yes, we have delivered one to a customer. He is so thrilled with the boat, and we've had several hundred nautical miles running the 45 at this stage as well. And with this, it's hard to stay true to your previous smaller models, and you have absolutely done this with the 45, and you've just made more of a good thing with the 45.
Yeah, the 45 to me, that is a proud moment for our entire team and an achievement in itself. Yeah. In order to create our flagship 45-footer, but staying true to all the basic DNA of Axopars.
Right.
The drivability, the cost point even, the fuel efficiency, the modularity, and the functionality. So for us, Axopar will always be devoted in going this direction. And I'm so thrilled to hear that so many customers also see clearly this same DNA on the 45s as well now, especially here on the boat show.
Absolutely, and the fact that you guys can create a 45-foot outboard power boat that is offshore capable, that is fully capable to be running at 46 knots with triple 300 horsepower outboards. It's impressive how much performance you can get out of a reasonable amount of horsepower.
Yeah, that is true. So this is actually very funny because this was the number one question we got from many US customers. How can you run a 45-footer on triple engines, 900 horsepower only alone? And this is probably the one thing that really opens up people's minds that we are truly running efficient boats at the moment. So for us, being able to have 900 horsepower, push a boat of, is it 16,000 pounds in weight, still having the boat feel very nimble and agile, but also being able to push the 46, 45 top speed on the cross cabin. We can even reach 50 knots if on a lightweight sun top.
Yeah.
That is really something to really showcase the efficiency and the development, the amount of development that has gone into creating one of the actual most efficient boats on the market in this size range.
And you cannot cheat with horsepower. You know, it is the fact that you can have this boat run like this much horsepower is a culmination of a lot of things and a lot of work and energy that you guys did well. So it's very impressive.
And that is actually, for us, we're working in a mindset that even the smallest 22 is bringing us so much wealth of knowledge when we develop even the smallest boat to get serious insights on how to make a 45-footer run more efficiently. And that's actually the real beauty of our team, that no matter what Axopar model we develop, we always carry over the knowledge from the previous model that we were last developing over to the next development. And that's also what makes me so excited about the future. We have our 10-year anniversary coming up next year.
That's right.
There will be a lot of new models coming out from us that we've kept ultra secret, so that's going to be very nice to see people's reaction once those products hit the water. But hey, let's get back on we can be talking about this for hours. Let's get back on the 45 cross cabin. Here we have the use of a configuration. On the sun top we're having the aft cabin. What's your favorite? What's your take if you pick one?
I really love the aft sleeping accommodations. It is so voluminous aft there, and it also enables you to bring more of your family members or friends on board your adventure. You've got so much extra space with the beam and the length of this 45. That aft cabin on the 45 is so comfortable and something that you can really spend some time on.
Yeah, okay. For me, I agree on everything you say. To me, there's one more point I want to point out, and that's the panoramic view of the aft cabin. Because that is something lounging down there and looking at the 300s from inside, that is a view of its own.
And it makes the space feel so large and welcoming. So you're absolutely right.
That's true.
That.
Opening up the skylights, which we of course now have hidden underneath the sun padding, but you really get the air also flowing in and out of that sun, underneath that sun pad and into that aft cabin.
Yeah.
But for me, this was actually a very interesting development topic for us because we wanted to have a cabin boat that really is not only an indoors boat. So we really wanted to mix and take away the very traditional thinking of cabin boats only being the A to B boats and not spending time on the boats. And for me, we have a very nice seating inside. I'm going to show you that later on. But for me to have a nice seating outside on so many cabin boats have really been neglected, especially in Scandinavia, because to us a cabin boat is something that you use all year round, no matter what the weather, winter or summer, spring, fall. you be shoveling snow off the deck in some countries,
Sure.
and in some countries we will be actually like us. We will be driving our cars on the ocean in wintertime. So the season is short, but when the weather is nice, you really want to be outside.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the U sofa for me is actually one of my favorites because here I can sit easily 8 people all around the boat.
Very comfortable.
I have
Yeah.
a very nice seating table all around. The table actually can be lowered down, and I still have the sunbed on this, like you have on the aft cabin as well.
And what I love that you've also created some really easy access to storage. You have a tremendous
that's
amount of
true.
storage underneath here.
Yep.
And just right there, that is great storage. In addition to the size of these line lockers that you've created, this is a whole nother level as
Yep.
well. But look at that storage in there.
So we actually did not take away any space when we developed the U sofa configuration. We actually created more because now we have also some actual hidden storage spaces
I
underneath
didn't
as
even
well.
know that existed. You
Yeah.
just showed me something I didn't
Yeah,
know.
we have them on both sides. And also then, of course, the one thing that I'm particularly proud of us coming up as first, now you're seeing some emulating this sort of idea, but having the fender box work as the aft wet bar.
Right.
So we have the wet bar standard on all the 45s. It's inside of the boat on the cross cabin, and it's
Right.
in the middle of the cockpit on the sun top and cross top. But here, because of the aft deck modularization and you want to spend time on the aft deck, we really also wanted to accommodate this area by having a good top loading fridge to have all your cool stuff in here, to
Yeah.
have the grill, and to have a properly functioning sink in this area, but still also not taking away any of the space. So we still have full fender storage. I think you can easily fill up this with 3-4 fenders in this area. So that's also one thing about the modularity of Axopars, that we really put effort and we really put time and money and development into finding out these sort of new innovations that can elevate our customers' experience on the water while on the way or while just at anchor.
Well, and your obsessive use of space has really come through the whole line, and
Yep.
it is amazing what you guys are able to do with every space. And that is also true with these drop-down balconies as well that
Yep.
you've created.
Yeah, these balconies, these were actually very interesting because the first minutes we started drawing the 45s, we were fully focused on developing the suntop and the crosstop models. And when you saw this drawing and this particular layout on the suntop, we just fell in love with the functionality and the safety creature comforts of the balcony doors as well, because we're not opening up an extended floor level that creates unsafety on board, but really creates added seating. So now on the sun tops, I don't know how many people you could fit there. We could actually probably do just a video of how many people we could actually be fitting in that area. But I think easily, comfortably 12 to 15 people even. And that's just one area of the 5 different areas we have on board an Axopar 45. But the whole idea became then very difficult when we wanted to have the balcony standard.
Right.
And as we do modular boats, we also have the 45 cross cabin. It also needs to have the balcony doors because we don't want to do different mold sets. So the whole idea is that on a traditional cabin boat, to have a balcony door openable, that's of no sense whatsoever. And we really struggled at what should we be doing? Should we be doing 2 different hulls and 2 different setups? But actually we just flipped it completely around and we asked, how can we make a balcony door work with this setting on a fully enclosed boat? And that's how the openable aft sliding door came around.
And I've got to say, when I first saw this opening aft sliding door, it wasn't even on my radar screen for doing that. And these dual doors and the different modes that you can put this boat in makes it so much more versatile, and it really doesn't feel like you're inside when you are in the cabin on a nice day like we have today.
Yeah, this came a bit like a surprise to many dealers because we really never even mentioned it. You saw the drawings, you saw the renderings, but we always had only the front doors moving.
Very clever.
So this was a last minute surprise to you. But still, what this actually created is a huge benefit for the inside of the boat, that we can now, with the balconies, have like the first fully enclosed cabin boat ever feel like it's a fully open boat.
Right.
So opening up the aft doors lowering down the balcony. And also then because of having the back doors, we also needed to design the layout, the interior layout of the 45 cross cabin completely new from our first initial thoughts. But that really created a very nice situation where we more or less trashed all our old ideas and we came up with this very comfortable U sofa setting.
Yeah.
And also with the wet bar in the middle of the boat with the sofa that you're now sitting on. And this setting is so multifunctional. The table is actually installed on rails, and that wet bar unit with the sofa is also installed on rails. So now when we want to have full access, you can easily cross from here in between the table, and there is a lot of space to be moving around. You can also be leaning against the wet bar while driving, so you can actually have 6 people looking forward in the front section. But also in addition to that, the wet bar can then be moved way closer to me than it is now in this video.
Right.
So we really create like a very comfortable, intimate setting inside a 45-foot boat, but still having the full sunroofs open, having the doors open, the balconies open, really opening up and getting the breeze in and out and throughout the whole boat.
You know, and I think that when a lot of people see the Axopar and they see the cabin nature of the Axopar, they don't realize how open an Axopar really is in the cabin arena, which is, and to have a 45-foot long cabin boat with the number of people that you can seat in the protection of this pilot house, but also with the open air feeling, it is such an innovative design.
Yeah, and for me, I would say really interestingly is also that now we're sitting in here, I think it's 30 degrees Celsius outside. The sun is really like baking.
Welcome to Florida, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for that. When I left the morning for my flight, I actually had physically snow on the ground. So it's very nice to come here and be able to wear shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
But when I get back, the reality will hit me in the face, and it's going to be bringing me back to that. Okay, we're in the Nordics.
Right.
But still, very interesting to find out. We have air conditioning in this boat.
Right.
But now we have no need to run the AC right now.
Not at all.
Because there is also a part of the design process. This boat opens up, but it doesn't open up completely, so it still gives you enough shade and shelter so that even if it's 30 degrees outdoors, you still have the air inside and you have the air moving around, and it doesn't feel cramped or hot inside at all. So that is for many of us, or many customers' first reactions. Do I need AC on a 45? Not necessarily, because of this openability. If we were building a traditional indoor cabin boat, the number one choice to go is you need air conditioning. You have to have it.
Yeah.
But with this layout, I can truly urge people to give it a try.
Me too.
And you will find that air conditioning is not really that necessary on the boat.
You're absolutely right, and we feel the same way. And it requires some use in getting on the boat to realize, okay, maybe we don't need that extra system.
Yeah, true. Hey, let's have a look at the helm, because that's also one of the key points on our boats itself.
Well, I've got to say, you've stayed true again to the drivability of this boat, and with these doors that you have right here.
So closing the aft doors, opening up the up.
It makes it so you can still,
let's open up the sunroof as well, getting the sun in.
As a single operator and someone that runs a boat solo all the time, to have a 45-foot long vessel that I feel very comfortable standing at the helm here, to be able to dock and maneuver by myself is really special. Yeah,
and that is very crucial for us with Axopar, that we want the boats to be maneuverable single-handed. I myself drive a lot of boats single-handed, big boats, big yachts, but the 45 to me really was one of the key issues we wanted to take away, was that anybody should feel intimidated in taking out a 45-footer by themselves. And that's also, again, with the design philosophy of having a very low center of gravity, very low silhouette, which so that we also don't get that much of windage into the boat as well. So even when you're driving into a harbor, the wind really doesn't want to catch the boat that much because of the low silhouette. And also because of the keel, the extended bow, the straight
Yeah.
bow, also extends the waterline when we're driving slow. And in that sense, that also gives us tracking and stability, even driving 4 knots, 3 knots, or 2 knots, and it keeps a true heading.
Well, and it's not just for the dockability with the boat. What I also think is a silent winner with all Axopars is how the boats drive relatively slow.
Yeah. Yes.
We can, in Maine and certain areas, we get fog.
Yep.
And many outboard powerboats, particularly of this size,
Yep.
they cannot do that mid-range 18 knots or 16,
or even
20
15
knots.
or even 12. And that's actually one of the key things, that because of our stepped hulls, the boat always want to be, and so the stepped hull is only one. We have probably 7, 8 different topics that need all to align and come to correct to get this sort of benefit to our customers of the handling. But the stepped hull is one that is creating this sort of sensation, but there are so many other interesting topics that we could be talking hours about in how we get the handling and the maneuverability of the 45 and all Axopars in that sense.
No, and that's what keeps people coming back and wanting more of a good thing, as I always like to say.
Yeah, yeah.
But to have this and these safe side decks with this whole setup, it's just such a winner.
Yeah, and it's also, so what we took special care is that we actually created a center cabin and a full walk-around boat. So it's not an asymmetric one. It doesn't have a small offside, one side better than the other. Asymmetrics, to us, we really don't like that.
Yeah.
So for us, the functionality and the maneuverability, that is key features, and usability. And also the one thing is, to me personally, when I move around a good designed boat, it just works. And you can't explain why it just feels right, but everywhere you walk, anything you touch, you feel that there's like a good flow. Mm-hmm. Every height has been carefully thought of, you know, heights for the elbows, how you can pass certain things, how you can squeeze into certain places that are just effortless. And this is where the details, and this is why we do a lot of things in virtual reality when we develop the boats.
Unbelievable.
So, because with the virtual reality, when you use it correctly and when you get the skills by hours and hours and hours of living inside of that 3D world when you develop, we can already start seeing things that work or things that don't work in a very early stage. So we can do this already on the drawing board instead of fixing something in production.
No, I mean, I know you spend a lot of time. I've had sometimes with those goggles on, and it's amazing the foresight that can give you.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, let's the Gullwing Doors. What do you think about the Gullwing Doors? That's a new innovation coming from Axopar as well. Have you ever, you know, what's your take on it, or what's your customers' feedback on it?
Many of the customers love the Gullwing Doors, and what's key with the Gullwing Doors for the 45 is it really enables you to create another living space that you can hang out in down below.
Yeah.
And with the Gullwing Doors open, it really makes it feel like it's a livable space.
Yeah.
And also on the smaller boats, you can also use those Gullwing Doors to quickly stash your gear to go boating for the day.
Yeah. That's, to me, we were actually talking about this, so that the come and go sensation of an Axopar, that is very critical to me. So I don't want to be using 10, 15 or half an hour in getting a boat ready to go when I get on it. And I believe you share the same sentiment here.
Big time. Big time. I mean, every second that it takes to get out on the water, you need to reduce that friction. The more friction you have to getting out on the water, the less likely you're going to go. And an Axopar is really the no excuse boat from my perspective. Yep. Because in our region, with changing weather and just the unknowns that you always have, you can have it's going to be too cold, it's going to be too wet, it might rain this afternoon. And so all the no excuses aspect is key with the pilot house, and also with your ability to quickly get out on the water and go boating. And those Gullwing Doors help you do that. Mm-hmm. This has been really fun going through the 45 with you, but I also want to point out a couple of things about some of your other boats that you have at the show.
Let's have a look at it's very easy for us to get caught in one boat.
I know. We're both. I love your perspective though, in hearing how you come up with certain designs, because the way you and Axopar define boating
Yep.
is very much so resonates with us in the Northeast.
I would like to say that everything we do for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's not the fling of the moment. It's not because one guy made a call and wanted something. This is that we really try to understand an industry, a global industry,
Yeah.
and trying to make one boat for one world.
Right.
And make this adaptable in all the areas around the world.
Sure.
So that is way harder than thinking of making a Scandinavian boat in Scandinavia for Scandinavians.
Right, right.
So that's the multitude of complexity we need to take in consideration. But doing this now soon 10 years,
Yeah.
we're getting better and better at it. And
Sure.
the feedback, the customer feedback and the dealer feedback, the amount of feedback we get from you also helps us make better boats. Every year we push for new models, new model year updates, just to create a better experience for our customers.
Well, and you guys continue to push the envelope on innovation, and the fact that you guys are so receptive to customers
Yep.
is a reason why you guys are this successful.
Yeah, thanks.
And
Hey,
speaking of success,
Yeah,
this
the
28 here is, Jeff, how are you? Great to see you.
Yeah.
Is an amazing boat. This is really for us, this is the boat that really got us excited about Axopar.
Yeah, this got you started with Axopar, I believe.
It absolutely did. This was my first boat ride. I will always remember my first boat ride on an Axopar, which was a 2017 Axopar 28. And I had a certain view of what a boat needed
Yep.
to run well. And to be honest with you, it was not what I saw with Axopar. It did not have those qualities.
Yep.
So, coming from a traditionalist world in the New England world, you know, we've represented some very nice brands of
Yes.
traditional lines, and I see these lines of the Axopar, and it just did not compute for me.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to be a wet boat.
Yeah,
It looked
low,
like
low sides, no
low-
South Carolina flare.
No.
We've got a lot. So introducing the Axopars into the United States, I believe this was somewhere around 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
That was the first initial reaction by, I don't know, 90% of people all around. But at that point, people really didn't understand the complexity that we put into the boat that makes this actually work. With the low weight, for example,
Yeah.
the good center of gravity, with the very balanced hull, with the center of mass in the best position in the boat, this actually makes the boat work.
Well, I've got to say, this boat completely broke the mold for me
Yep.
on what I thought a good boat needed in order to run well. I am very particular with needing a good running boat. And when I went for a ride on this, I was absolutely blown away. I could not get water on the windshield. It was a choppy, gnarly day. It was a cold day. And it was the most exhilarating first boat ride I've ever had.
Yep.
And ever since this day, I've been obsessed with your boats.
Yeah, and there, to my knowledge, there is a lot of boats, 28s, out in the New York area and in the main area for you. So
There certainly are, and you know what you are able to design in this sub 30-foot boat
yep.
did not exist before the Axopar 28.
Sure.
You have this full cabin style boat, and most notably, you don't feel like you're in the cabin
No.
when you're inside here. You can open this all up, so it's no less protected than a center console when you want.
Yep.
But it's fully protected when the going gets tough and the
Yep.
weather turns on you.
Yep.
And that is such a special feel. Also, the low center of gravity, we've done some really long runs on Axopars,
Yep.
and you just don't feel tired after a long day
Yeah.
trying to get somewhere.
Yeah, and that's so you can drive with the doors open. You have the same canvas roof as we have on the 45. So you can get the air inside, but you don't get the blasting of wind because you're still doing cruising 30, 35 knot speed. So being in wind for 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 hour is still good for me, but being in wind for 4 hours straight, that's just exhausting.
It is.
So being able to have a full enclosed cabin boat, that's one thing. And what I like about the 28s, no matter wherever in the world I'm traveling, the 28 gets me anywhere.
Yes.
And it's very interesting to see that, for example, just a small thing. I was on a summer holiday in Italy in the worst time of the year, which was August. And I took my dealers from Cortelotti, I took my dealers 28. We were driving around Italy in the Cinque Terre area, which is a beautiful area, by the way. We got some really nice shots from there as well. But any harbor you went into, usually full packed of boats. But with the 28, there was always, you found always the space inside. So that to me was a bit of a different adventure. We were in very nice scenic areas. The adventure was finding a mooring in the most hectic areas. And the really funny thing is that we have a lot of Axopars as super yacht tenders. So whenever we came with the 28 into a super yacht harbor,
right,
we just called in, can we stay for lunch? Yeah, of course. What mooring do you want? So they gave us super yacht moorings with ropes this thick because the yachts were out for the day, and everybody thought that, hey, they're out with the tenders. So we got the full, red carpet service when we always arrived with the 28s, and that really got my, attention that this is another way of boating as well.
Well, absolutely, and there's the fact that you are also in this 28-foot cabin, able to accommodate for an aft sleeping cabin.
Yeah.
For a 28-foot boat.
Yeah.
It just increases your optionality with a 28-foot boat. So now you can go cruising on a 28-foot boat and be perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, let's talk a bit about power. We also have the BRABUS here, the BRABUS 500.
Right.
So what do you think about 500 horsepower on an Axopar 28?
Your boats handle speed and power so well.
Yep.
So adding additional power for a little bit more of an exhilarating ride, I think makes a lot of sense for some of the customers, for sure.
Yeah, to me personally, I love the V8, the 250s. They really pack a punch. And to be able to drive safely on a 28-foot boat with 50 knot speeds and doing cruising at 40 knots, that is really, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but this is a compact race car in a way. This gets you places. This is like a very nice 911. Gets you anywhere you want to go, and it does it in style.
Well, I know you love speed. I know you drive your boats very hard, and that's why you've designed a boat to be able to do all those things.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. That's true. Hey, the 37. We're next to the 37 cross cabin. What's your take on the 37?
The 37 holds a very special place in my heart because I currently own a 37 Axopar.
Okay.
So what this boat has done for my family, my young family, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
We are able to go cruising for 4 nights in a row. I've got a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old at home. My girls sleep forward. My wife and I can sleep aft in the aft sleeping cabin. It's very comfortable. In the rain, in the snow, we can still be out there having an adventure with the family.
Yeah, that's good. To me, the 37, where I'm living, it's a small city in Vasa. The 37-foot for us becomes a bit of a bigger boat to be driving around. So for us, that's also one of the whole idea, that having the different range, but also having a big enough difference between the models. So we're doing the 22, 25, those are sister boats, but then jumping from 28s to 37 is that we want to create enough difference between two models. We really dislike the ideas of having, let's say 30, 32, 35, 39, 42, 47 foot boats in our range. So when we do a range, it really needs to work in that size range, and it really needs to be optimized for that size range.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense. It is a decent jump from the 28 to the 37.
True.
But you're getting it for real good reasons.
Yeah. So the sleepability for 4 persons, if you take it with the aft cabin like this boat now is, for us, we're usually always going boating 2. So the 37 for me is perfect just with an open aft deck, doing fishing, snorkeling, water sports activities on that. But I know that we're selling a lot of aft cabins just to have that functionality and usability of it.
Customers love the optionality that they get with an Axopar, and there are so many different use cases because of the modularity that you guys have created within your design. That has created a lot of different use cases and missions for our customers to still enjoy your boat. So where you are cruising primarily for 2, you are able to design a boat perfect for you, and we're able to design a boat with a kitchen module, which we love, the aft sleeping cabin, the separate head compartment. For us, that ends up being a real great wet locker because we're still boating in the winter and when it's raining, and that wet locker in the head is fabulous for us.
Yeah, sounds good. Hey, we also have some news with us, not that much yet. It's a bit of the hush-hush of the industry, but of course we have the Axopar 29. So what's your take? What are your expectations with the new 29? It's just like 3 months now until we're going to be launching it. So what's your take on it?
You know, this will be the third version of one of your most successful boats. And this, as you mentioned, you've learned from every single model you guys have made. And I know you guys are just going to continue to push the limits of what already is a great thing for the 28 into the 29. Your bow seating area, the U-shaped seating area on the bow of the 29 is going to be fabulous. The additional sleeping capacity forward.
Now you can sleep 4 persons on the 29.
4 people comfortably on the 29 is pretty darn impressive. And I know you've added some increased room in the cabin as well, a little bit more of a flow going aft.
So this is again thousands of hours of work in order to get when you have a boat that works, how can you improve it? And when you improve something, you can not only improve one specific thing, you need to improve everything you do. So this boat is more, we call it more. So it has more space, it has way better fuel efficiency, it has more utilization of space, it has bigger optionality, you can optionize the boat even more in detail to your liking and to specific regions all around the world. We've done the boat more fuel efficient, so we're running higher speeds with the 29 than we were able to push with the 28. And we're running this with actually even less fuel per gallon. So this is an interesting thing to do, but I'm really looking forward to showcasing that boat to you. Actually, as a small teaser, I'm getting the first 29 now from the factory. So we've been doing the testing at the factory facilities, but now we're actually taking that boat into the shakedown period. So the boat is actually going to be delivered to our hometown, and we're going to be able to do some really winter testing on that boat before the ocean freeze is over.
Well, you're a very lucky man to be able to do that. And you know, as I said, my first ride was on a 2017 28 Axopar. And when we were doing that ride, we learned that they were going to be making kind of the second version.
Yes, that was
2018.
2018.
And I was on this 2017. I was like, how can they possibly make this boat even better? And you did that with the 2018 model range, and I'm sure you'll be doing the same thing with the 29. So I'm very excited to see her in person.
For sure. But it's also very interestingly, next year will be our 10th anniversary. And during that 10th anniversary, there will be a lot of other surprises coming as well. One is, of course, the adventure collection we're doing now together with Joby and Sail Racing. But the one thing is that we've made our 3rd generation of boat in only 9 years, for our 10th year anniversary. In traditional boat world, you make one model and you keep it alive for 10 years. So the evolution that we've been pushing in 9 years, traditionally, in other industries or in the boating industry as well, normally takes even up to 30 years. So we've really been pushing that because we want to create the best boats, and when we find a way to create an even better boat, we want to have that immediately out for our customers to enjoy.
Well, and you guys are not like the average boat builder, the boat company. You guys have a very strong vision, and you are sticking true to your vision. You guys are you're not looking around at other competition to see what they're doing. You're sticking to your true vision and going for that. And that is really what makes Axopar such a special brand.
That is one of my internal mantra, that we never compete against anybody else. We are just competing against ourselves. And that's the way how we can push things like this forward and create products like the 45s. Hey, let's talk also about the US a bit. So having your dealerships around the northeast part. I think you have 6 locations right now.
Yeah, and we're actually just opened up another office in New Jersey here, so we're going to have some nice coverage for our Axopar customers to see these boats as well.
Yeah, and to me, I would say one of the key things with an Axopar is always to take them out on a sea trial, because that is to me where you really so one thing is to have a look at a boat on a boat show.
Yeah.
But for us, what I've heard is the unique selling, the point where you actually create the sale. That is when you get the people out on the sea trial, because it's not only about us talking, it's also about us delivering something.
Right.
So I don't know if that's the same, if you share the same opinion with me.
Well, with my personal experience understanding Axopar, for me, the boat ride is what totally changed my mind on realizing exactly what the Axopar was able to do. So for me, the sea trial was critical, and the same thing with our customers.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna be a long video for you to. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If there's something I always enjoy is giving you a bit of backdrop of why we do certain things, because we think we want to hope that you see us doing different things than many others in the industry, and this is what keeps driving the innovation forward, but also keeps our teams motivated, because we're really like challenging ourselves on a daily basis, but all for the benefit of the customers. So
your pace of innovation is unlike any other, and we're just happy to be waving your flag. So it's really fun.
Hey Ben, it was my pleasure having you on the booth.
Yeah,
and I
very
hope
much
you
for
all
having us.
enjoyed this different take on a traditional walkthrough of the stand here in Fort Lauderdale. Stay tuned for a lot of other boat shows in your local areas to really get a possibility to touch and feel and experience an Axopar of yourself.
We are the Adventure Company.